a few days ago, the Stellar Blade demo dropped on the PlayStation Network, and
I played it.
people were actually able to experience the game and could get an idea of what the game actually would have.
Imagine
in it,
having a demo.
besides nice things to look at.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, it still needs to be a good game.
Yeah, I'm gonna be honest. Like, it's always good to see characters, but like, listen, how many people have seen porn of Overwatch? Guys, just be honest. Me, right? Everybody. How many of y'all idiots actually play the game? No, nobody does, right? And so I don't need to play a game in order to appreciate its graphics.
Well, it turns out the game, so far, from what I've seen from people that are pretty big into gaming, like Mark the Cyborg, the game is actually pretty good.
It's pretty good. I would agree. I'd say the demo, like the Final Fantasy 16 demo was a 10. I would say this demo was an 8, maybe a 7.5, but it's like a 7 to an 8. I would say somewhere around there. It wasn't crazy, but it was good.
So I'm looking forward to playing this game. It'll be funny to see how the media reacts to it when it actually drops, and if they're honest about it. Some people aren't being very honest.
I just wonder, like, what's wrong with you if you can't be honest about how well a video game sells? Like, if you need to flip the script and put a spin on the way a video game sells, you need to get medicated immediately. You need to make sure that you speak with your doctor or therapist as soon as possible. Like, imagine that, like, this is a world that we live in where people need to put a spin on the way that a video game sells. Imagine, like, the level, like, imagine going to one of the villages that Mr. Beast made a well for and then explaining your problems to the people that live in that village. It's just, it's incredible.
Like IGN, who had to change their articles up and play victim because their take was so bad that everybody on the internet laughed at it. So, to be clear, this is IGN France. So it's still IGN, but it's an IGN that caters to France only. Probably will be shut down within the year because IGN, I suspect, must be losing money because they have positioned themselves over the past couple of months to become the next Kotaku. Anybody that's been paying...
I don't really think so. Personally, I think IGN is probably one of the better actors. Like, do they allow people to write articles that I disagree with? Yes. And there are a lot of articles that they write that I disagree with, but there are also a lot of videos that they do that I think are good. So, like, what the fuck, right? Are they not? Are the writers there not allowed to have opinions that I disagree with? Like, what's this? Of course they are. Absolutely.
Attention to what they've been posting has probably noticed that as well.
Hate clickbaiting happens, but like, this is the thing, right? Is like, people say that I'm farming hate sometimes whenever I give my opinion on things. But I'm not farming. In my own mind, I'm keeping it real. But publicly, people think that I'm farming hate. Because everybody hates what I'm saying. That doesn't necessarily mean I think I'm wrong, but it's there. So people are going to have different opinions on things.
Every week. But they came out and said that this game was designed by people that have never seen women.
Yeah.
And I always find this to be kind of a stupid take because this is the model the game is based on, being motion captured here. It is very much based on real women.
This is the same kind of girl that if the kind of girls that say something like this, if they saw her, they would be like, well, where's her organs? Because you have to have a stomach that's the same size as a yoga ball in order to fit all of your organs inside of it. We all know that.
I love that they did this. This was the studio's response to the people bitching and crying about, oh, she don't look like a real
Whenever
woman.
they say organs, what they mean is an actual organ, like a piano. So if you can't fit an organ inside of your body, you've got a problem.
No, only incels thinks that's what women look like. So they literally only posted this video.
You can't
all
fit a
they said.
piano
Lincoln
in your
said, "This is
belly."
the actress, blah, blah, blah.
You
And then
ain't
they
a
posted
real
this
woman.
video, shutting people down. Because, yes, there are women that look like this. They also said that she's the stereotypical Asian doll or something, which I guess is a stereotype to do. But here's the real thing that's funny. They cry about Stellar Blade while selling these.
You telling me this shit is $300? I'm telling you something, man. Who the fuck spends $300 on this? Is a like I would spend $300 to not have this in my house. I'm gonna be real. Like, I think this shit is like, bro. So many of like my friends have this shit, and I walk in their room, and I'm like, damn, there it is. What are you doing? Why do you have that? You know what I have instead? I got one of these. This is a it's a figurine of one of the Knights Templar Crusaders from the Crusades back in the day, and you can see the work here, right here, and he's got a flag, obviously, you know, saving them for the crusade. Yeah, exactly. You can see this. Like this is the kind of stuff I have. It's nice, ain't it? Fuck yeah, man. Hell yeah. Yeah, we're not fucking around with any of these anime girls, man. My mom got me that one, and she got me another one, and it's of Leonidas, you know, like the king of Sparta. And that one's downstairs.
On their website. Here's one. Here's another.
Oh!
Just,
That's worse than Stellar Blade!
cute anime girl figures or whatever, and they're selling them for ridiculous prices. I mean, this is probably
what is this? What's it made out of?
$300, $250, respectively, for these things. It's an affiliate leak, but it's
Real
still
flesh? Well, then maybe.
This is what I find funny is they have no problem doing this to get a little bit of a handout.
Yeah.
But they've got a massive problem with this character.
I mean, real talk, though, real quick, is that one person who posts an article on IGN is not representative of IGN's opinions as a whole. So, like, just because this person has this opinion doesn't necessarily mean that, and like, also, or a country, right, yeah. Now, I could also say that you will probably never see an article that's of the opposite perspective from IGN. So, like, you'll never probably see somebody like me or somebody like this guy like having their opinion represented. So, like, it's true and it's not true.
Game.
Then they should be fired?
So, they had to...
I completely disagree. I think that everybody should be able to have an opinion, and if you disagree with the opinion, the free marketplace of ideas is the greatest thing that our culture has. And I don't want to see people get fired for having an unpopular opinion. I want to see them defeated in the free marketplace of ideas like they have been. That's it. The free market is inherently flawed. Lamau, come on now. You're right that the free market is flawed, but everything else is flawed even more.
Scramble because they were getting called out and made fun of. So they had to make some changes in the article because they forgot or didn't bother to look to see that a real woman was used to make this character because it blows up in the face of the West.
And somebody, like, by the way, I understand that, like, if you want to use the argument that, like, in this specific circumstance, this guy should be fired because he's making personal attacks at this guy's wife, I think that you could have an argument for that. So, like, in this specific circumstance, I could see why somebody would want to see this dude fired. And I think that in terms of somebody being fired for a bad opinion, this is probably the best person that I would want to see fired for a bad opinion because he made it personal and he insulted a person's actual appearance. And, like, that's way beyond the scope of what a conversation is. But everything else in terms of just having a bad opinion and something like that, I don't think it's a big deal.
Western narrative that they've been doing where they have to make women kind of a little bit more ambiguous and make them look like men because of a certain agenda that they've been trying to push. Meanwhile, you have Eastern companies making beautiful women, and they don't like that. So they had to change their stuff to one of the lines was a doll sexualized by someone who has never seen a woman to a doll sexualized by someone you would think has never seen a woman. And then they added this, a pompous disclaimer in English that says the last sentence has been slightly edited for French-speaking people pretending to not understand what we meant, and the English-speaking mob who Google translated the initial text. However, since then, IGN France has...
I would actually accept that because there's like there's a couple of girls that I've talked to that don't really speak English, and I've had to use a translator to talk to them. And there are a lot of things that get fucked up in translation. So, like, yeah, no, I've had this shit happen myself. Use AI for this? Yeah, so blame the audience reading it? Well, what I'm saying is, like, I mean, you can't expect that everything is going to translate perfectly. And also, by the way, it's still bad. It's still bad. It's not like it's not bad. But, like, if they said that it was a translation error, I wouldn't worry about that so much.
Ended the disclaimer to instead claim that the article was edited following death threats.
Yeah.
Which they never got, and don't bother to post receipts on. They just leave this up there because they want to be forever victims. What do you mean? What you meant? You literally shit on the character.
Yeah, also, by the way, like, the rephrasing of it is not any better. Like, it's really not. Like, it doesn't make it any better.
After talking about... You didn't talk much about the gameplay from the demo, which was what you were supposed to do. You decided to shift it into complaining about how she looks, how she's too busy helping the male gaze. Like, literally, in there it says, the game does a good job of doing this and that with gameplay, but it's not really that great when it's too busy trying to please men's eyes.
Yeah. This dude is just farming. You know what I said before about how guys act like this and they talk like this? It's like, the first day in women's history, freshman year, a guy joins and he says, hey, I'm not here for his story, I'm here for her story. Well, that guy just got hired at IGN to write articles.
And they're mad saying that people mistook what they're saying. That's in the article.
That's it. He's farming.
They literally say the game would be better if it didn't try to attract the male gaze. And not male gaze, male gaze, G-A-Z-E. So,
oh, right.
I just find this funny. Reset era, of course, having a meltdown, their own.
A little melty.
Of course
just
a
little one.
And it's going to get worse when the game comes out. It'll be fun to monitor what they're
just
saying.
They're already
melty. Banning
people
people in the thread. For
that website bans people for anything. Like, if you disagree that something is a big deal, you get banned. Like, that website is worse than my subreddit. It's worse than my chat. I just read the French version. It's not a translation issue. It says exactly the same. Nyandra, do you speak French? Because you're always in here whenever I'm, like, live at stupid-ass times. I'm French, yeah. So this is one of my mods. I've known this dude for, like, fucking, like, what's it been, 6 years? You said it's not a translation issue? There it is. So, like, my point doesn't make sense. It wasn't a translation issue. Yeah, there it is.
Laughing at people getting mad about laughing at people mad about how she looks in the game. It's very easy to get banned over at Reset Era.
Yeah.
But here are some of the posts.
And that's their right to have an echo chamber full of pussies that love to cry about shit. Like, that's their right. Like, I don't want to shut them down. Good for them. Good for them. Have fun.
Grums is grabbed, which are pretty funny if you want to pause and read them.
Yeah.
There'll be a lot more of these. You'll see a whole segment.
So ridiculous. Wow. Just wow. Being sexual isn't so bad. There's no voyeuristic camera angles. What do you mean there's no voyeuristic camera angles? You can literally control the camera. Who would say that?
On this, because it's just fun to look and see what Reset Era is mad about sometimes, and this one is going to be great. we're going to have a good old-fashioned meltdown from Reset Era when this one drops, ladies and gentlemen. But get ready, because it's not just them. All of the mainstream press is going to, well, some of them, not all of them. Some of them will actually talk about the game and give it good reviews and stuff if it deserves it. But from what I'm hearing is the game is good. But look at this. Stellar, but it's sexist. But its developer doesn't see the problem.
This is some dumbass from 2 months ago that wrote this article. Do you want to know who gives a fuck about this article? Nobody. Nobody gives a fuck. This should have been a tweet. It would have been more valid.
Stellar Blade, the developers have posted a decidedly sexist tweet about the protagonist.
What was it? I wonder what it was. I bet it was something stupid. I bet it was something that was, about her being hot or something like that. She looks nice. God damn. I'm wondering if this is satirical. What you have to understand is that we have a tremendous mental health crisis in America. And once you fully acknowledge the extent of that crisis, everything that happens on the internet immediately begins to make sense. Because you thought that we closed the asylums, we just renamed them. It used to be something like, whatever the one was in One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest. And now it's called Twitter. Now it's called Kotaku. So we still have insane asylums, but they're just called something else. And the crazy thing about it is the patients sign themselves in. You don't even need to hold them there. They hold themselves there. They don't want to leave. It's a crazy thing how this fit together.
If Stellar Rage fails to recognize the game's sexism, game developer accused of sexist character design, even though it was based on a body scan of real women.
Mm-hmm.
So that's kind of what's been going on this past weekend with this game.
To be fair, the last one wasn't bad. There's nothing wrong with the last one. The other ones are bad.
The real takeaway that you should pay attention to is the gameplay. And from what I hear, the gameplay is good.
Nobody gives a fuck. It's like that Nier Automata game, right? I don't know anything about that game, but I've seen a lot of pictures of that one girl from the game. So, I would maybe play the game, but, shit. I would not play the game because the girl is hot. I would play the game because the game is fun.
If you have a PlayStation, the demo is up for free. I'm looking forward to this game.
Hey, y'all pussies capping that. Remember whenever you capped Monster Hunter? Remember whenever you capped Dragon's Dogma? Well, to be fair, I didn't play all Dragon's Dogma on stream. I played at the beginning, and I played the whole thing off stream. But I played Dragon's Dogma 2. Remember you capped that? There are a lot of games that I play. Genshin Impact? I haven't played every game. That doesn't mean I don't play any games.
I think it's going to be fun. And a surprise, actually, on just how good it might be.
Yeah.
We'll see. We'll see. Anyway, that's pretty much it. Let me know what you guys think about all of this in the comments below. Why do you think they don't like pretty women?
It goes against their narrative. That's why. It goes against their narrative, and that's just all there is to it. Now, why does it go against their narrative is really what the question is. It's because they have convinced themselves that and also the reason why is that a lot of the people that write these articles are insecure women. And men trying to farm insecure women. So what do insecure women hate? Other women that make them feel insecure. And so that's why they complain about it. It's just that simple. It actually is just that simple.
What are your thoughts on that? Also, if you would please subscribe.
And I gotta say this. I'm not even a big thing. I'm not a big dude for people getting involved with making everything super sexual. you got to remember, like, my favorite movies are Lord of the Rings. Like, that's why I thought Frieren was such a great anime. Is like, besides that one fucking scene where, like, she compares her boobs with Fern, there's really not a lot of sexual shit going on in that game, that show. It's just a good show. And I love that. Like, I don't think that there needs to be this bullshit.
Make sure you're still subscribed. Hit that notification bell. I'll see you on the next one.
Oh.
Peace. Make sure to check out my locals. There's a link
What
in the
even is
description.
locals?
It's a fun community that I'm trying to build over here. If
Is that like
you don't
a
want to support
Patreon?
me on YouTube,
Yeah, what is that?
you can come over here. None of that money goes to YouTube. You also can just come over here for free. But if you are a supporter over
like
here, I do
OnlyFans?
plan on doing an extra live stream once a month and throwing links to the
Yeah, like I hear locals and I'm like, what, locals in my area?
supporters, so you can actually come on and have a
It's like a
supporter live
Craigslist
stream with
ad,
me.
you know?
Also, it's a good place to catch all of my content. You don't have to worry about notifications.
Locals might be
like
banned on
YouTube.
Xbox.
They'll definitely work over
I wouldn't blame them.
So come check out my locals.
I hate whenever they go and they say that they're receiving death threats. Anybody that goes and says, oh, I'm getting harassed. I'm getting harassed for my bad opinion. Guess what happens whenever you write an article about somebody? Well, your viewers go and harass them. Do you think nobody has sent people that work at Stellar Blade emails harassing them? You think that hasn't happened? Of course it's happened. So you can't write articles that are critical of a person, and then whenever you get disagreed with, you say, oh, you can't disagree with me. That's harassment. It's just such a fucking bullshit thing to say. You know what it's like? It's like you ever play a game where it's like, it's like, I'm trying to think of a good example. It's like you're playing tag with somebody and then they're it or you're it. And then they run into their yard and then you can't go in their yard and they're just like, haha, now you can't get me. I'm winning. Like, that's the exact fucking mentality that these little bitches have. This is the most pathetic fucking thing I see on the internet. Is somebody puts their fucking opinion out there and they farm hate on somebody else. It backfires, and then they try to farm sympathy because they weren't able to farm hate. As if them making this article, if this article came out and everybody was like, that's so true. This company hates women. Oh my God. People are going to go harass the company. They're going to go harass the employees. So are then, based off of their same logic, should they now not write articles criticizing things? Because if somebody reads the article and they agree with it, they could take it too far? It's just such a ridiculous thing to say. You know what it's like? It's like, you know, in Burning Crusade, where people would attack you whenever you would leave Shatrath City, and then they would be like casting something on you. They'd be waiting for you to leave the safe zone, and then they would start attacking you. And then the moment that you turned it around to try to attack them, they'd run back inside the city. And you couldn't hit them. It was... That's exactly what these fucking people do, man. New World PvP. Yeah, exactly. I get your point, but isn't saying you hate someone different from a death threat? No, it's not. So let me explain how it's not different. So these people are providing a criticism on Stellar Blade, which I totally support categorically because I support free speech. I totally support this. This is completely their right to do that, and I never want to take that away. Then, whenever other people disagree with that, they are also voicing their criticism, like this guy's video. Like, this guy's video will lead to harassment at IGN. My video will lead to harassment at IGN. And IGN's videos and IGN's articles will lead to harassment from the companies that they are criticizing. Because that all criticism is used as a tool for harassment. That's what happens. You cannot have criticism on the internet without having some bad actors take that criticism too far. That is not the fault of the person who is criticizing. Because if you use that and you judge everything based off of the... Imagine if I have 1% of my audience. Let's say I have 0.1% of my audience that will do something bad. There's like, let's say 16, 15,000 people watching right now. We're talking about 15 or 16 people that are sending messages. That's a lot of people. And that's at 0.1%. So you think about how, like, whenever you look at numbers, you look at probabilities, you look at bad actors, and there's a lot of people. Isn't the caveat, of course, that content makers need to predict what would be horrible to say? No, they don't need to predict anything. A content creator only has the responsibility of not inciting violence and not doing something that deliberately puts somebody in harm's way directly. If you criticize another person and somebody else goes and takes it too far, that's not your fault. You can't predict, and also, like, and that's another thing. How can you predict the actions of a person who's illogical? You can't. Because they're crazy. And a lot of the people that go and send comments like this are crazy people. So how can that's why they're crazy. It's because you can't predict them. Inciting has to be direct and immediate. Exactly. But wasn't the problem the sexualization of women in video games? It's an accusation Blade has to deal with. It's 2024, not 1910. If you are unhappy with the way that women are sexualized in the game, that's totally your right to have that opinion. Now, I disagree with the opinion. I think it's stupid, but that's your right to have that opinion. But the difference is that you can't have that opinion and then say that that opinion can't be criticized, and anybody who's criticizing you is enabling death threats. Because what I'm saying is that any criticism online will lead to this whenever it reaches a certain amount of people, no matter what the criticism is. That's just how things go. And so them hiding behind this, again, if the people at Stellar Blade had been harassed for this, do you think IGN would have taken the article down? Of course not, because of journalistic integrity. And so why should anybody else take their criticism down of IGN? Fuck that. If you can't take the heat, get out of the kitchen.